Okay.
We are recording, and so we are here for Lunch and Learn number 6, and we are excited to share with you guys some of our favorite finds at TCEA last week. And so we're going to get started. If you aren't already on the site, you can follow along there. I'll put that link in there. It's just a bit.ly. I'll stick it in the chat for you. Ooh, let's see if that works. No, that didn't link it, but that's okay. There's the bit.ly. And then that will kind of take you through our top 10 list. Chelsea's going to start us off with the first 5, and then I will pick up with the last 5. Plus, we have an extra little bonus one for you. So, Chelsea, take it away.
Awesome. So, first of all, can you see the site? Is that what you're looking at? Okay, perfect. So my name is Chelsea. I'm helping out with EdTech this year with Christy. For those of y'all who haven't met me, I also do social studies and support TIA. So all the things. But we're going to jump through a few things that we've learned at TCEA that were exciting to us and hope that they'll benefit you if you were able to go or if you weren't. And hopefully if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to share. I know Chantilly was at TCA with us. So feel free to throw those in the chat if you had any that you were really excited about that you found. So I'm going to start with my top 5 and then we'll throw it over to Christy. So the first one is Microsoft Reading Coach. So Google has a product that's similar to this, but it is in beta and it doesn't really provide much data. So that's what I got excited about when I learned about Microsoft Reading Coach. I'm going to show you a little bit about it. And then I will do a little short demo if this will pull up. Okay, it's thinking really hard. There we go. Okay, so this is the main page when you jump in. It's called coach.microsoft.com. And just to show you a few things about it, essentially what it's doing is it's checking for reading comprehension and fluency, and it has the immersive reader piece. So you've got the support for your students who need any kind of thing, dyslexia or anything like that is all supported within that immersive reader. And it also can, students can create their own stories using AI in a very simple, fast manner. You can kind of see there, students can choose their topic based first the character, and then the more they read, the more characters they unlock. And the same thing for the scene and all the other pieces. And there is a for home version, so teachers or parents and students can access this for free from home. They just need a Microsoft account. And there's also, like I mentioned, the data piece. Teachers can create an account for free on Microsoft Education using your school email address. And then from there, you can get data from whatever your students are doing within your classroom. The only time it starts to cost is if the school would like to aggregate data on a larger scale. So it will be free for you if you want to use it as a teacher. And so the other thing it says is that that I liked was the educator quote here mentions that you don't have to have Teams to access this. You can just go straight to coach.microsoft.com. So let me show you what it looks like when you're logged in. So I kind of played with it a little bit and I chose a story that was already from the library, but I mentioned before that you can create your own story using AI. So if I decide I want my story to be about an owl on an island, why not? And then you can choose the reading level if you're not sure which level is right. So if the student's not sure, they can actually cycle through different levels and the student can choose the one that's appropriate for them, or the teacher can help them make that decision. So I'll just choose level 3. So then it will build the story for me. And then when you're ready, the student will start reading out loud. I'm going to read and just make a few mistakes so you can see what it looks like. Ollie the owl lived on an island surrounded by a vast blue sea. So then it tells me my accuracy. And the first time I read it, it did give me 100%. So it's pretty accurate. And these are the words I messed up on, as you can see there, and you can practice them and you can go in there and listen to the word. You can see the pieces of the word. You can record yourself saying the word, and it will give you feedback if you did it right or not. If you get the correct pronunciation, it gives you a little star. So students have that gamified piece where they can go in and get stronger with that reading. So it does track their days or their minutes per day. The more they read, the more characters they have access to. And it also creates streaks where you have the badges. You can also add your own passage. So if you, the teacher, have a certain passage you want students to all read, then they can copy and paste that in there. And there's the progress for overall day to day to day. And again, this is just the student side, but the teacher side has a lot more strength in the data piece. Okay, just for time's sake, I'm going to move on, but please throw any questions in the chat if you have any. The second one that I got so excited about was the Google Sheets nerd in me. I think Nash might like this one. She likes Sheets just as much as I do. So Sheets is, it's got a lot of things, but one of the features I didn't know about was that you can actually freeze rows with just one click, or freeze columns. So if I'm on this one and let's see, if I have no rows frozen, then you can actually just take this little bar right here and drag. So you don't have to go to File, Freeze, Number of Rows, and you don't have to fight with it to do more than 2 rows at a time, and you can adjust it at any time. Oops, I did that wrong, but you just shift it from the corner and it'll move it from place to place. So that one made me really, really excited and pumped. It's a really, really quick one. And I did that fast. So just to let you know, there is a tutorial video here for you on how to do that. Even though it is a simple click, sometimes if you're not looking right at that second, you miss it. So feel free to watch the video if you want to figure out that freezing step. The next one that I got really excited about was in Google Docs. So with that one, if I have all these different fonts, and our normal font is always going to be Arial 12 point, right? I personally, sometimes when I'm in a rush, I don't have time to make it look pretty, but you can make it to where it's defaulted to the fonts that you like the most. And so I chose Lexend. I learned that it's better for readability for students. Any font that has an E that looks like the way you would write the letter E is better for readability for students. So that was one that was suggested. So if I want to go in and create a new, let's say I want this to be my normal text. Obviously bold and big is probably not best, but I'm going to set that to be my normal text just to play. And then from there, I'm going to go to options and I'm going to go to save as my default styles. So now if I pull up a brand new document, it automatically has Lexan Bold 15 as my default style. So you can go in there and you can set each one the way you want it to look. And once you've completed that, you save as your default styles just once. You can also reset. So if I want to go back to Arial for whatever reason, I could. So just a really quick, fun, I take a lot of notes, so sometimes it gets old to always look at Arial or have to spend a bunch of time changing up the fonts. So number 4 is Cami. This one's one that has been around for quite a while, but I learned some new features about it that I wasn't aware of before. So I'm going to show you real quick. If you go to the Cami website, they've got a few things kind of on the main page that you can look at. There is a free version and a paid version. But one of the things it has is it does have the ability to up the accessibility. So on PDFs and things like that, you can add all kinds of things. You can add annotations and recordings. It is built into your LMSs, and it's going to give you data back through the site if you use the assessment feature. So it does have things like, I made a list here. So it has voice typing, dyslexia fonts, read aloud, dark mode, closed captions, and that's just a few of the accessible features that Cami has to offer. And so you're working on top of your PDF there to make any kind of changes that you want. I was always seeing it used as a digital worksheet. So they would scan their worksheet and then put the text boxes over the blanks and just type that in, which for me, I felt like it just takes longer because it takes longer for each page to load as you're trying to grade it, and you don't really get any quick data that way. But it does now have an assessment feature that you can use that gives you that immediate insight as to how your students are doing. And real-time monitoring and feedback. So if you've ever used anything like Nearpod or Pear Deck, Kami has that same ability on the class view to where you can see multiple students work at the same time. So if you're doing a math problem, they can solve it on the whiteboard feature and you can see all of your students' work and pinpoint who's struggling and who's on track for math. I mean, it could be for anything. You could be drawing a map in social studies, you know, anything you can imagine. And the piece that I was most excited about is the collaborative learning piece. So if you've ever used Google Slides to have students collaborate, where you shared it with all of them, of course you had to spend time explaining, don't delete each other's text, don't write anything inappropriate, da 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 da. Well, that piece is gone with Kami because students can edit, but they can't edit each other's work. So I'm just going to show you a little bit from the session that I went to. It's a little overwhelming when you come in the middle, but when we started, you know, there was a lot of us in the room, and it was neat because we used all kinds of different things. We all typed in, we could do a comment, and you can see who wrote each comment by putting your mouse over it. And then as we went through, you'll see we started to learn more of the different features. So it started slow, but you know, just like anything else, once we learned how to use it, then we kind of took off with this idea. So I want to show you one thing that I thought was really cool. If you're trying to see if your students are interacting or not, if you're worried about, obviously, hopefully not going to have 105 people at the same time, but maybe, you know, Johnny, usually he's playing video games in the back, he's not paying attention. Anytime you pull out the Chromebook, you can actually go in and you can hide all. And then you can just click on whoever you want to see if they interacted. So I know I did. So you can see that's what I wrote. So that's kind of how you go in and check for students to be doing their work with you. And then I wanted to show you one more. So there's a few other things you can do. Oh, she deleted a page or two, I think. Okay, that's okay. But you get the idea that like this one, look at all the images you can add. You can add these graphic organizers here and obviously make them bigger, but we were just playing around a little bit with it. But I was just really impressed because I can't do anything with anyone else's typing. I can only adjust my own writing. So I don't remember which one is mine, but you get the idea. I just got really excited because I liked using slides for collaboration, except for the classroom management piece. And a lot of this is also free. And that is one thing I'll show you real quick. So free versus paid. So everything on the left side, that's included in the free version. There's a couple things that are not included in the free version. I believe that the graphic organizers already pre-made are on the paid side. There's a few things like that, but there's a lot that you can do with your students that can amp up your collaboration in the classroom. And the last thing I wanted to show you was connected to that same group that I was in for the Kami session, because it was all about thinking routines. If you're not familiar with Project Zero, it's a Harvard Graduate School of Education project where they have created different, really quick, just like See, Think, Wonder, different things you can use with students very quickly to get them verbally thinking out loud or writing out their thinking in a really simple way. And so this is kind of how they have it set up. If you go in to see one specifically, though, the downside of this is it's not really set up. You're going to hand that to a student. It explains how to use it, which is great for the teacher, but that's not a student-facing document. So what I got really excited about at this session was that she built templates that she was willing to share with us, which I have now shared with you, that you can just click and make a copy of a pre-made slide, and all you have to do is insert that into Kami and you can immediately start that collaborating piece. And so if your teachers are unfamiliar, it's very low level of teaching them how to do it. It's just encouraging them to, create those pause points in the reflection piece. So just show you here, there's a ton of different ones, and she provided them all for free. So I give all the credit to Stephanie Howell. She's great. She does Gold EDU if you've never heard of them. But I felt like really appreciative that she was willing to share all these great templates with us. So that was my biggest and most exciting one. I'm going to turn it over to Christy and let her tell her top 5. I think we're doing okay on time so far.
We are doing perfect on time. You are right at the halfway point. So, all right, I'm going to share hopefully the correct screen. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I still want to see my meeting. All right, there we go. Can you see my screen? Everybody good? All right. Okay. So I get the second half. So number 6, one of my top ones was an AI platform called Napkin AI, which is the weirdest name for an AI, but that's okay. So let me kind of show you what Napkin AI is. First of all, it looks like this. This is currently my library. I only have a few that I've played with. But what I did, there's 2 options when you create a new napkin. You can draft with AI or you can use a blank one. If you draft with AI, you give it a prompt, it's going to write the text for you, and then you're going to make graphics from that text. So I did that one with this energy one here. I let it write the piece for me. All I did was I prompted it and said, explain and provide everyday examples of, energy. Basically, I copied the standard, the TEKS. It's Science 3.8A. And I just said, explain it. And so it wrote me this little text. So this would be a great thing to use for students to like preview the types of energy that you're going to do or review. But the cool part is, see how it has a little blue lightning bolt? When I click on that, it's going to create or attempt to create a graphic based on that text. Now, the cool part is you get tons of options. So if the first one you're like, that doesn't look that great, you have lots of options that you can pull from. Now, you're going to notice a lot of them repeat the similar styles, and you wouldn't want to use all of them for all the different things. But, something like this might work just as a graphic to add either to your slideshows or, whatever you're presenting to the class. You can do that. You could also just keep it super simple and have just something like this where the icons get added for you automatically. Like I said, the other option here was, and there's even options once you pick one. So like you get editing and you can edit. So if something comes out weird, then you can fix it. And I did have that happen with the second one. The other one I did when I clicked new napkin was I did a blank napkin. And what I did was I actually kind of app smashed just a little bit. I used Google Docs and used Brisk and asked Brisk to create guided notes for me on this standard, TEKS 5.7A, identify and describing patterns of settlement in social studies. And so I had Brisk create those guided notes for me, and then I just copied and pasted those guided notes over into this blank document because it literally is just blank. And then you can do the same thing. You can just create. Now, here's what I was talking about. It says suburban up here, but for whatever reason we get exurban, you can fix that. So you can go in and you can, change it or edit it, and we can fix that. So I do like that gives you that option, but anywhere there's a little blue lightning bolt, you have the option of creating another graphic. So no more trying to figure out, ones for yourself, no more digging through templates, trying to find something that will work. It does it for you. So that's Napkin AI. And like I say, super easy because you just either draft it or start with your own. And again, work smarter, not harder. I used AI to come up with the own and then put it in there. So I thought that one was a great one. The next one I want to talk about is Notebook LM. And let me tell you, this one is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Okay, so I'm going to show you one I already did because it does take a couple minutes to generate one of the pieces. And I didn't want us to have to sit here and wait. So what I did is I went into, I actually used more app smashing. I went into Magic School and asked for informational text on literary genres. I asked for, let's see, in fact, I can't remember which standard it was. I can't remember, but I did copy it from the Teaks. Um, I had Magic School create me a presentation to a slide set using that same text. And then I went and found a video that had literary genres in it, a YouTube video. And so I found all those things because what I did with this notebook is I uploaded all three of those things. So I have this slide set, this YouTube video, and the Magic School text that I created in a doc. A little word about the YouTube videos. They do have to be closed captioned and they have to be public videos because it's basically using the transcript to pull from. So it took all those resources and it has kind of a chat going. And I could go ahead and I could interact with questions and asking for it. I could do things with this, but here's where the really cool part was. And hopefully it won't take 2 seconds. It may take a few moments, but the really cool part is it takes all of that information and it creates an audio that kids can listen to and get that same information. And I want you, hopefully I've got it where you guys can hear it, but I'm going to let you listen to for just a
All right.
second.
Time to unpack these literary genres
Can you hear it, Chess?
you sent over.
Haha. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I get a little overwhelmed at the bookstore sometimes, you know. So many choices.
Oh, totally.
It's like, what even is science fiction, really? Or historical fiction?
Right.
So I definitely need a guide to make sense of it all.
Well, think of genres, those signs you see in a library, They help point you in the right direction, towards the books you're going to enjoy most.
Oh, I like that.
They group together stories that share similar styles or themes or even elements.
That's like a shortcut to finding what you're looking for.
Exactly. And
It creates a two-person podcast based off whatever you put in it. It's the coolest thing. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes for it to generate that podcast, but I think it's such a great opportunity to give students a different way to listen to or to learn something. Our kids that need to hear it. It would be a great intervention strategy, to be able to revisit something that maybe is somebody is struggling with. It's also a great way if you've got kids who are in and out right now, sickness, oh my goodness, it would be really an easy way to cover your lecture and your information that you shared with an audio that they are engaging, are interested in and engage in a little bit more than if you had to sit down and record yourself going through your slide set. So I thought it was really powerful. I also think this part right here is also a really good place because you can create a study guide based on that information. You could create a timeline. You could create other things based off of what is created in that podcast. So you put in what you already have, it creates lots of things from that. But that audio piece to me was really cool. I think our kids would really like that piece. Now you could overdo it. Don't overdo it. They don't want to hear it all the time. But I think it would be something that they would definitely enjoy. Okay. I want to make sure I get through all of mine. So just like Chelsea had one, I have an oldie but a goodie, and that is Flippity. And so many of you have used Flippity for something like the random name maker or the randomizers. I know that those are two that we tend to use a little bit, but here's a great place for you to do some vocabulary. They now have templates to do like Wordle and connections. So if you are a New York Times Games fan like Chelsea and I are, then these are some great tools that you can use because you get to put your words in. In fact, if you go, nope, I gotta remember where I put it. Let's see if I can get this to copy over. I'm going to throw one in the chat if you want to play one. It's a really messy link, but it's a good one. These are words I put in. So I've opened it up as well if you don't want to play. But it's just connections. So the goal of connections is you try to find 4 words that match in the same category. And you do that 4 times. So there's 4 categories, 4 words each. And you can actually play that. And so you could, and it acts just like connection. So if you say, I'm just going to click and you check, it'll tell you, nope, that's not right. If you get 3 out of 4, it will tell you that you're almost there. If you get 2 out of 4 or less, it will put an X. So it does kind of guide you towards getting it right. So like I say, super easy, 4 categories, 4 words each. What a great way for your kids to review and kind of constantly come back to that vocabulary that you need them to know. And so anyway, I thought it was super fun. Make your own. But I did also like that you can also do Wordle as well. So just again, great critical thinking skills. It could be an icebreaker, an opener for the day, something just to get your kids thinking. But of course, Flippity always has tons and tons of other options as well. I know we've done tournament brackets for things like poems. April is Poetry Month, and a lot of schools like to do like a kind of match up with March Madness, that idea, and use poetry. And so then they have like a tournament bracket. This would be a great place to create that tournament bracket. And your kids would read poems and vote on which poem moves on and things like that. So that's another cute idea that you could do. All right. Formule. Formule is an extension that you could add to your spreadsheets. You can also use it in forms, I believe, but I'm just using it from a spreadsheet that I created. Now, y'all are kind of getting to peek into my crazy world, but I'm going to be contacting some of the vendors we met at TCEA because we do have a STEM and SPED kind of focused conference coming up this summer. And so I just wanted to show you how this works. It is an extension. You can open that up and you get to set, it's just a mail merge utility, but it was so much easier to use than some of the ones that I have done before. You just create your template with the forms from the labels from your form. And so I've got this template in. I'll be honest, I chat GPT this as well. And then you can save and preview and you can see what it's going to look like. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to hit save and send all. So I've got this ready for each participant. It pulled their name, it pulled their company, so that it looks as personalized as I can get it. And I'm not having to write 20 emails today. So I'm just going to hit save and send all, and they will all get them. And so you can always, like I say, it shows you that this hasn't been sent yet. You can always preview all of them just to make sure that they, everything comes out correctly. But then you just hit save and send all. I thought, what a great idea. Like that would be a great thing to do for parent volunteers. If you have parents use a form to sign up, go into that sheet and send them an email. Thank you for your willingness to volunteer. Here's when we're going to meet, or, something along those lines. It could also be something that if you're in a role where you're coaching, you put those emails in from, whoever you're talking to or coaching, working with, that form would be sent based off of what you put in that form. So there's lots of ways you can use it. I know we've used Autocrat before, but this one to me was so much faster and so much easier to set up. So I was super excited about that one. And then our last platform, which I'm going to go very quickly through, is Note. And the reason I'm going to go quickly is I have not had enough time to explore it, but the promise is there, or the potential is there. It's basically an alternative to Quizlet because there are some issues with Quizlet's compliance with their privacy policies for a lot of schools. And so this is being touted as the alternative to that. In fact, you can actually migrate any Quizlets you have into Note, and it will create them for you in the exact same thing, that flashcard kind of game. But on top of all those flashcards, you also have all these free AI tools for teachers, a PDF summarizer, a video summarizer. This one was pretty cool. It was a live lecture note taking tool. You start the recording and it's basically listening to you and summarizing your notes. Again, with all these absences, wouldn't it be great to have, first period do this with one class and have it summarize it and send those notes to those kids so that they're not stressed out about missing class? Like it's really cool. I want some more time to play with it, but I just think it's got a lot of potential because of all the tools that are there. And just like a lot of the other AI, it has things like emails and proofreaders and things like that as well. So just another alternative. They are a super small little company, but they are also super responsive. So if you need anything, they're there. So it also gamifies things a little bit. Again, I'll play with it at some point and maybe we can have another kind of session on it, but it was one that showed a lot of promise. And I know I am right at like a minute to go, but I'm going to show you this bonus one from a Google lab called Whisk, where you can take and you pick what kind of style you want. You drop your own picture in and it like mashes it up. So I'm going to go to my library and show you some of the ones I created using pictures of my kiddos in their band uniforms. And it made little plushies out of them. There's my son and there's my daughter. This one was a picture, I will tell you right now, that looks like nothing like us though, but it tried to make an enamel out of some of my coworkers and I. So And considering I can't figure out which one's me, it's probably not the best quality. So, but it is super fun to play with. And this is a complete bonus because it's just for fun. I don't know what purpose you would have otherwise. So, all right, I am going to stop sharing. Maybe. Nope, I don't want to keep sharing. I want to stop sharing. And oh, maybe I don't know how to not share. It's okay.
I
There it
can
is.
share
I got
in
it.
that way.
I know
Okay.
saying take over. So,
Yeah.
all right. It is noon. We want to honor your time completely. Chelsea, did you want to show your pictures?
Yes, but go ahead and then after I'll just show after we.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can say it's fine. It's noon, so we'll stick around, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.